It's Thursday, September 30th, 2010, and we're at the home of John Kozlak to interview him about his experiences in World War II. My name is Marcy Campbell, and I will be asking the questions while Skip Kress is shooting the video. We're doing this in conjunction with the Central Connecticut State University and the Library of Congress. So, John, how old were you when you joined the service?
I believe I was 25.
25. And what branch of the service did you join?
Anti-aircraft.
But you said you were drafted into the Army?
Yes, I entered the Army for basic training, and then I was transferred to Fort Eustis, which was a anti-aircraft mobile battalion.
Where were you living when you got drafted?
New York City.
Aha. What were you doing at that time?
I was working at Manufacturers Trust Company on 45 Beaver Street, New York City.
So what was it like when you had your first days in the service?
It was rather strange.
I'll bet.
I had never been in the military before, and it was quite a surprise.
Did anybody play jokes on you?
Well, it wasn't exactly a joke. I remember one evening we were more or less all civilians going into the service, and when the first sergeant put us to bed at night at about 10 o'clock, he said to be quiet. Well, we weren't very quiet, so the next thing we know, he ordered us out on an athletic field and made us run around until he tired us out so we'd go to bed.
That's great. Was this the first time, obviously you'd been away from home unless you were raised in New York City?
No, I had left home when I was about 18.
Tell me about boot camp.
Pardon?
Tell me about your training camp. What do you remember about that, other than having to run around in the middle of the night?
Well, during the day we attended some classes, and most of it was on actual training, marching, and how to handle arms, a rifle, and whatever that was necessary to learn about the military. Oh, that's my phone.
When you were in boot camp, do you remember who your instructor was? The name of him? A lot of men remember very clearly. They don't remember anything else, but they remember who that drill sergeant was.
I can't remember his name.
After boot camp, how long were you in boot camp?
I'm not sure. But I finished my boot training, and then I was transferred to Fort Eustis.
Where is that?
I think it was in, well, I'm not sure.
Well, good for you. You have Fort Eustis. We can find that out. And then, what was your, what did you do when you got there? Was there more training?
I think it was just before Pearl Harbor. In fact, we were there. I was there at Pearl Harbor, and we spent the day bringing ammunition to some of the guns along the coastline.
So you were on the coast. We'll figure this out. Let's see. Well, That is, so you were in before the start of World War II, really? Before our involvement, you were already in the Army?
Yes.
So they were drafting people before the war started? They were already drafting people
Yes, yeah.
and training you?
Roosevelt decided he would train some of the boys before we went into the war.
And then it must have gotten greatly sped up after Pearl Harbor, everything.
Yeah, after Pearl Harbor, I think about 10 days later, they put me aboard ship. And I went to Panama.
You went to Panama?
Yes.
And what were you supposed to be doing in Panama? Was that to defend the canal?
I was in an anti-aircraft outfit guarding the canal.
Guarding the canal. And how long were you there?
How long was I there? I think it was sometime in 42. I wanted to be a fighter pilot, and I took the exam for qualification at the fort on the Isthmus. I can't think of the name of the field right now. And I passed the test, but I failed the physical. So the doctor that tested me gave me an extension of 6 months to get in shape. And well, it's quite a story. I had a problem with the first sergeant. I asked to be transferred out, and I went into a service record outfit, and I applied for a school, and it was electronic school, and I entered the school, and after a few months I graduated, and when I was graduating I discovered that the commandant of the school was also the chairman of the officer examining board to see if you were qualified to be shipped back to the States to get a degree, I guess, in become a second lieutenant. So I put in an application and appeared before the board and answered their questions, and I was approved to go back to the States for training, become an officer. I had to wait for some time before transportation was available to take me back to the States. And I did go back and enter the AAA school, and I can't remember now how long I was in the officer candidate school till I graduated as a second lieutenant.
Now, after you graduate and you're now a second lieutenant, then you would get reassigned, presumably?
Well, I still had my qualification to join to become a commissioned cadet in the Air Corps. And through the grapevine and the first sergeant, I guess I discovered that the commandant of the school wasn't very happy because I had taken an extra month on guns, on 90mm guns. So I was afraid that he might turn me down. So I asked to be transferred to an outfit that was going overseas in the South Pacific. So he transferred me to the 508th Triple Gun Battalion that was located near Savannah, Georgia. And they were getting ready to go on maneuvers and go to the South Pacific.
And where in the South Pacific did you end up?
Well,
Or were you moving?
the first boat ride was to New Guinea, and we were there, I can't tell you exactly how long, but we were paid and rationed by the Aussies, Australia. And then it was sort of a acclimation period for us to get used to living in the jungle, and that's what we were doing.
Oh,
And then we came under the command of, I believe, General MacArthur. And then we started up the, I can't remember all the places we were, but eventually wound up going into my memory fails me every once in a while.
it'll come to you. Where was MacArthur's headquarters? I can't remember.
I draw a complete blank at times, and I just can't.
That's all right. So you were under MacArthur. What did you think of MacArthur?
I thought he was a good commander.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that seems to be the answer we get.
yeah.
But Truman didn't think much of him.
He was placed in a rather poor position in the Philippines when he had to give up his leave the Philippines. He didn't have any choice, I felt. The Philippines was the last thing I was on, the last invasion. And we were anti-aircraft, so we weren't up in the front lines.
Thankfully.
We brought our 90 guns in and set them up at an airfield. And when some of the Japs found their way into Subic Bay, and the admiral got upset, and he wanted protection from the Army, so they took us out of the airfield and sent us to Subic Bay. And I stayed there, and they sent me into Manila. We were getting new guns, 120 millimeter anti-aircraft guns, a new radar, and getting ready for the invasion of Japan.
Oh boy. And were you involved in that invasion?
No.
Good.
Let's see, they had just taken the island.
Yeah, I know.
I draw a blank on that.
Well, but you were never injured in combat,
No.
but you knew a lot of men that were.
Oh, yeah.
How did you keep in touch with home? Did they allow packages and letters to come to you?
Yes, I was able to communicate. I had met my wife when I was in the fort outside of Savannah, Georgia.
I'll be darned.
She was a college student, and just before we got, I think before we went on maneuvers in Tennessee, I had occasion to attend a dance for the enlisted men. the colonel of our 508th insisted that all officers attend the dance that was given at a community hall outside of Savannah. And I met my wife at that dance.
Good job.
Yeah, and by the end of the dance, I made a date to meet her in Savannah.
Very good. Didn't let any grass grow. You moved right on. That was good. So she waited for you for how long, how many years before you got married?
Well, I came back in '46, and that was the first place I went, was Savannah. And I proposed to her. And it was a rather unique. She said to me, "You'll have to ask my father."
That was common practice.
Yes. So I had to go and ask Mr. Jones if I could marry his daughter.
Well, she was quite a lot younger than you were. She was still in college.
Yes, she was still in college, and
Uh-huh.
when I met her, well, then she graduated, and she had a dual career. Her father was in the banking business, and she worked during the summers in the bank. I don't know in what capacity, but she had a banking background. So, well, anyway, I communicated with her all the time I was overseas.
I hope somehow they kept the letters.
My wife did.
I was going to say, they should be still around somewhere.
I looked at them the other day, and I was wondering what to do with them.
You keep them, and you give them to your children. You know, that was a whole different era, so you want to preserve them, just like we're preserving what happened.
Yeah.
Skip has a question for you. How many enemy planes did you think you shot down?
None.
None? Why? Do you have poor aim?
Well, I started off with fixed 3-inch guns in Panama with a mechanical machine for getting firing data. There were quite a number. You had to compensate for temperature, air temperature, powder temperature, fuse time, and elevation, azimuth, and dead time after they cut the fuse, putting it into setting it up at the gun barrel, and the gunner rhyming it home. If you hit anything, it was a miracle.
Love it.
But then, as the war progressed, we got our first radar, and we had powder train fuse, and then we got radar fuses, and step by step they improved the anti-aircraft chances of hitting anything.
Well, we didn't have up-to-date weapons when this started.
Oh no, it was.
So they were playing catch-up.
Yeah, they did. It took a number of years before we got our good radar and electronic computers for figuring out our firing data.
That probably helped a lot. Now, did your family know exactly where you were? Because most families, they didn't tell.
I, I, I don't know, to be honest with you. They knew I was overseas, but they didn't know
Yeah,
where or
they didn't
anything.
tell,
Yeah.
yeah. Did you have plenty of food where you were? Were you fed well?
Oh, yes.
That's good.
Yeah, we had, sometimes we were on army rations.
Spam?
Same as the infantry was getting.
Spam?
Pardon?
Was it Spam? My father would never look at a can of Spam after World War II.
Well, we had a little bit of everything, I guess. Sometimes on an invasion, we had just had a fortified chocolate bar. Then we had 10-in-1 rations. And we had our own, as a battalion, we had our own headquarters cook that could supply the gun batteries with food if they had to. But we had, in our battalion, we had our own cooks and everything.
Now, how big is a battalion?
Pardon?
How many men would be a battalion? About?
There was about 120 men to a gun battery. So we had 4 gun batteries and 1 headquarters battery. So that was
A lot of men.
120 times 5, that's 600, I guess. And then we had a headquarters section, the S1, S2, S3, and S4. And whatever we needed to do, we were sort of an independent unit. We had I think we had a full colonel as a commanding officer with all the S1s, 2s, 3s, 4.
Do you remember his name?
Ogilvy.
Ogilvy?
Colonel Ogilvy.
Good for you. See, they'll cross-reference that. I like that. Did you have anything that you carried for good luck?
Did I have anything I should carry?
That just brought you good luck? A charm, a letter? Did your wife-to-be give you anything that might translate to a good luck charm?
I'm not quite sure, but I think I carried a rosary beads. I was a Catholic.
Good.
And I believe that was about the only thing I carried.
Well, that would be good. Now, did you ever get on leave, or did you ever get?
Yes, when I came back from Panama to go to the officer's school, they gave me 24-hour leave, and I went home to see my folks, and I think I just was just hello and goodbye.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. Did you have any of the entertainers that were going around and doing USO shows?
Yes, when I was in, where was I? Yeah, a couple times we had, when we were in the Philippines, I guess we had these shows.
Like Bob Hope and...
Yes, I think I attended one of his. And occasionally we were visited by Red Cross, but not very often.
It was a war, after all, so it's probably hard to do. Do you recall any humorous event that you haven't told us about? Did you form really good buddies in your unit that you kept up with after the war was over?
I tried to keep in contact with at least the officers. And I did visit one officer in Carolina. Lieutenant Munden was his name.
Mundon? Munden?
I'm not sure.
Well, close enough.
It was Munden. And then Captain Boyd was our commanding officer. I tried to contact him, but I never was able to catch up with him. And let's see. And I think an officer from another gun battery, I can't think of his name, I was in contact with him.
Now, I know you were writing to your wife-to-be, but were you also writing to your parents? And would those letters be useful to us?
I'm quite sure I wrote to my family. But I have no idea what happened to them. My brother Walt was in the Air Corps, and my brother Edward was in the Navy, and between the three of us, we were all in the service together.
Edward was in the Navy?
Yes.
Do you recall the day that you got discharged? Where were you?
I was at Fort Edwards.
Uh-huh.
And it was in, we flew into Edwards from Los Angeles, and it was, I think, in December, and we had khaki shirt and khaki pants and brown shoes, and there was snow, and it was a rather frigid
Was it
welcome.
a cold welcome? That's not nice.
Yeah, I had to go buy a field jacket.
Yeah,
I have it downstairs. I wore it home.
well, good.
And that was about the extent of it.
And then how long were you in Fort Edwards before you actually could go home? Because that took a while, didn't it?
We're not very long.
Oh, it was good?
It was just a very short stay there. And I think we spent just a very short time there, and then they flew us to Washington, D.C., and then put us on a train and sent us back north. Some of that is a little vague to me now, but
Well, now, you qualified for the GI Bill. Did you use that when you got home?
no, I had to make a decision, marry my wife and go to college.
You probably made the right one.
I chose to marry the girl I loved.
Good idea.
So when I got back, my dad was in the furniture business, and I feel that I ever wanted to work for anybody anymore, but I wound up working for everyone. I, my brother Walter and I talked my dad into taking us into the furniture business. We formed a corporation. We had one share apiece.
That's good.
But after a period of time, my dad retired and we bought him out. And we changed from Kozlak Furniture to Kozlak Floor Covering Incorporated.
And you did a very good job.
I spent 30 some odd years in it, and then when I reached age 65, I retired, and my wife and I decided to see the world.
Oh, good.
And that's what we did.
That's terrific. So, what impact do you think being in the service had toward the rest of your life? In other words, you were in a bank in New York City, and then you went through all this, and then what changed everything? Was it your bride, or was it the service, or what?
Well, I had led a pretty sheltered life, and I was free. I could go as I wanted. I had worked in Hartford for about 3 years, and then I gave up on that and decided to go to New York City, and almost starved to death.
Everybody does in New York City.
At 40 and 41, I didn't have much money, believe me. And fortunately, when I was in high school, I realized that my sister was in college and that my dad couldn't afford 2 of us in college. So I took a lot of commercial. I took shorthand, typing, bookkeeping, and so typing really helped me out. I got my job at the bank because I could type. They were looking for a typist. They had 32 branches, and they were making small loans. And they had a paying out section of about 6 or 7 men. We had to do all the bookkeeping, make the checks, address the envelopes, and send the checks out every night. So we went to work at 5 o'clock and usually got through at 12.
Oh my.
It's a little unusual.
It is, yeah.
But it was a job. And, but then I lost it by
Going in the service.
into the service. But while I was in the service, I decided I wasn't going back. But I did go back and thank the gentleman that had hired me, and told him that my job was held open for me. I could have it when I came back, but I declined it, and I thanked him for hiring me and said goodbye to him.
That's good. Anything else you want to tell us?
Well, I stayed in the reserve. While I was at Subic Bay, the talk at the time, I believe, was that the Russians had moved in on the Japanese. I don't know what area, what territory, and there was some talk that that might become a problem, and that we might have to fight Russia. So with that knowledge, I thought I'd better stay in the reserve. So when I was separated at the fort, I signed up for the reserve, and So I finished out 20 years in the Reserve. I was a battery commander for the 461st. We had 4 gun battalions, a regular, but yeah, it was a 461st AW gun battalion. We had twin 40s on a tank chassis, and we had quad machine guns on a half track.
Wow. Well, we appreciate very much your letting us intrude like this, but it's very nice.
Well, I couldn't remember all the details, but it's been, what, 65 years?
Yes, it has.
And a lot of water has gone over the dam.
Exactly. Now, we're going to talk to your brother, Ed, we hope. You're going to have to help convince him.
Yeah, well, Ed, I think, he didn't get into the service until near the end of the war, and I know he has a college education, but I don't know whether he had it before. I think he had it by the time he went into the Navy, and I think he was mostly into electronics, radar, and they were sending him to school.
And then, where is your brother Walt?
Brother Walt was a pilot, B-29 pilot, and he was a fighter pilot to start with, but then he transferred to multi-engine, and he flew B-24s and 25s, and then he transferred to the B-29, and he spent most of his Army life training, and he finally made B-29s, and he flew a bomber from here to Los Angeles. When he got there, shortly afterwards, the war ended.
I'll be darned.
So he never got to get into.
Now, does he live here?
Yes, he was.
He lives here?
No, he didn't live here.
Oh.
No, I built this house. I had it built in '61. I started, I think it was. I moved in '64. But my dad had a 2-tenement house, and my brother Walt got married before I did. And a few months ahead of me, and then I got married, and I took the downstairs apartment my dad owned, and Walt took the upstairs one.
That's fun.
And that's how we got together, and with my dad.
Yeah.
And so he stayed with me, and I had gone to Pennsylvania to the Armstrong Installation School, and I had quite a bit of leave coming at the end of the war, because in the Pacific you didn't get any leave. So I was there about 3 years, so I had quite a bit of time coming, so some Armstrong salesman talked me into going to the installation school.
Good.
I was being paid by the Army, so I did, and that's when I made up my mind I was going.
That's great.
Yeah, so it was it's been rather an interesting life, and but I never expected to reach this age. No one in my family has ever made 80 before.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
And my brother Ed is catching up to me, slowly but sure.
Now, how old is Ed?
I'm not sure. He may be 90.
Yeah, that's a number I've heard.
Is that right?
And how old is Walt?
How old is what?
Walt,
Walter died,
oh, I didn't know that. Didn't he live on Sugar Camp?
yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walter, I retired in 81. The morning of 81, I walked in and dropped my keys on the desk and Walt's desk, and I said, "Goodbye, Walter." I turned around and walked out.
You're a sketch.
So, well, what the problem was, it was a corporation, and we both, Walt and I had 50-50. And when I retired, they wouldn't pay me my Social Security because I think they felt that I was being paid underneath the table.
Oh, that's nice.
And so I finally sold my 50% to my brother Walter. And then he, I'm not quite sure, but I think Walt sold it to somebody, and they weren't a very good business man. And
Yeah, I remember that.
they lost it.
Yeah, I remember
And,
that.
and then one of the lads that was working for him came to my brother Walter and wanted him to open the business. But it cost about $40,000 to open the business at that time. And he didn't have the money, and Cook didn't have it anyway. I don't know about Walt, he probably did. So anyway, they freelanced for a while, then finally Walt opened it up as Cook and Kozlak. And then Walt had an accident, had a fractured skull. I think we fell down the cellar stairs.
You boys all have to do that?
In West Hartford, yeah. And he fractured his skull, and he was in the hospital for about a week, and they were going to operate on him, relieve the pressure in his brain, and he died during the operation, I believe.
Well, we thank you very much. You're probably running out of tape over there.
Well,
That was very nice.
as I say, a lot of waters run over the dam. And this year has been, I've lost a lot of my memory. I could remember little details, but lately somebody called me recently on my telephone number and I couldn't give it to him.
Well, my husband stood and couldn't give his ATM number either, so. Can we find your jacket and take your picture?
My jacket?
Your flight jacket that you bought when you landed in California? Do we know where that is?
Everything is downstairs in the closet.
Can I go look for it?
Yeah, I guess you can. I don't know. Go down the stairs in the basement, and as you turn right, there's a double door. Open it up, and there's a switch there. You can turn it on, and there's a switch on the wall that you can illuminate the area.
Oh, good. Don't you think this will be fun? No, you're not going near the stairs, but just tell me where the stairs are.
Put the lights on for you.
I'll put the lights on, but where are the, right there?
Yeah, as you start into this hall, there's a light switch on the right. Just press it.
Okay. Now, this is your uniform when you were in the reserves, or
Yes.
this was when you were in the reserves after you were discharged?
I'm not sure. I think this is for the reserve, I think. Well, medals and everything.
And your rank was major?
Yes.
Very good. We have more things here. Maybe he can just tell me what these are.
What's that?
You remember this one? Take the color off.
Yeah, that's the green.
And when did you wear this?
When I was in the reserve.
This is another reserve one.
Yeah, yeah.
Boy, all pressed and ready to go. Okay, then we have another one. And I think this,
That's what I call I think is it a field jacket?
well, it feels
Yes,
sort of,
yes, it is.
is it? Is that the one you bought when you got to California?
Let's see.
There's a heavier one down there. Would be the heavier one?
No, this is a uniform.
Yeah, I think so.
I know. All I know is I had to buy 3 of them.
Well, I like the one you have on. I think that's super. And